Shalom, 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 shalom. Shalom, 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 shalom. All right, Khan. You ready? We should be ready to go. Just bear with me. All right. Shalom, shalom. First and foremost, giving infinite praises, glory, and honor unto Yahawah, Ba'ashem, Yahawashi, Ba'ashem, qadash. Giving double honors to our apostles and elders of Great Millstone and Shalom and salutation to all you sincere Akim across the four winds, pushing this truth with sincerity of heart. I'm your fellow servant, Kasamagan from the DC camp, coming at you through the spirit and power of Yahawah, Ba'ashem, Yahawashi, Ba'ashem, Qadash, if you're the elect. Now, in this lesson, we're going to go into Epstein a little bit, not the details of Epstein, but just the mentality, because you have a lot of people in Babylon, right? That's the title. All of you Babylonians are Epstein, because we got to look at the big picture. You got a lot of people talking about, well, this is a distraction, off of, because the elites are trying to do other things. Well, you may call it a distraction or you want. At the end of the day, this is prophecy, all right? The exposure. The reality is, man, we can't have the MOTB, the mark of the beast. We can't have, the microchip, the Third World War. All the great moves of judgments of Yahawah Shemel Shah cannot be installed until there's something called exposure. Because remember, right now we're going through the process. The Lord is taking Babylon, aka the U.S., through the process of righteous judgment, which must mean you must have sins, you must have corporate, you must have accusers, all right, witnesses, you must have exposure, and then you get judgment. All right, so these are the different steps that are happening right now. So you must understand that what you may believe is a distraction is really like a big part of the fall of Babylon. This is huge. This is a big part of the fall of Babylon, because before the Lord moves on Babylon, He needs to make sure Babylon is exposed. All right, and you have these regular Babylonians, right? Regular United States citizens. They get upset. They all get upset about the things that you see, that you read in the files, all right? Because the files, the emails are accessible for the average person. Right? If you go and look for it, you're gonna find it. The emails are accessible. Most people don't even want to go into it because they know it's really foul and disgusting. But these are the deeds of Edom, Esau, the so-called white man, the devil that the Bible speaks of. But he's not the only one. These are also the deeds of the nations that play right along in this game, this foul game of sexual deviancy, necromancy, and what else? Just cannibalism, right? Just a combination of a whole bunch of stuff. And the nations are a part of it. Top elites from the nations are a part of it. And then you also have Israelites to certain levels that are a part of this thing, all right? And you see a lot of this, and this lesson is about not only the top elites that are found into these emails that do these wicked deeds, but also the people. Because when you look at Babylon the Great, you look at the United States, you know, all these individuals are idol worshippers, all right? Beginning with the Edom, Esau, of course, but then you have the nation of Israel, you so-called Negroes, Hispanics, and Native Americans. You out there talking about, well, Epstein is this and Epstein's files are crazy. But I'm like, but you niggas commit pedophilia in your community, all right? In your so-called communities, right? You Negroes is committing pedophilia. I mean, how many times you went into a so-called black woman? Because you wonder why the black woman is fucked up. A lot of times, not all the times. One of the main reasons why the so-called black women, so it's messed up, is because when you date a lot of these women, a lot of our women, and you really enable to kind of get soft, because they are really masculine, because they hiding shit, they hiding the hurt. So a lot of times when you really able to dig deep and they break down, and they tell you the things that happened to them, whatever, 2, 3, 4, 5 years old, by men that they trusted, family members, uncles, and so on and so forth. I've heard horror stories, right? You're not gonna see that in the Epstein files, but I've heard horror stories from these women that I've dated over the years. That's why I don't have one, because I understand these women are damaged. You know what I'm saying? For multiple reasons. So I understand, like, there's a lot of these sins, abominable sins that are taking place amongst the average Babylonian, but they look at the Epstein files like, well, those guys, right, those elites are on a different, which they are on a different scale, but they, different than them. All of you Babylonians are adulterous to a certain extent, right? You call adultery cheating. High levels of homosexuality running rampant in Babylon, been running rampant in Babylon. The level of transgenderism is constantly growing in Babylon, right? High levels of lesbianism, all right? Sexual deviancy, all right? There is a perverse spirit, like the scripture said in Isaiah 19, there's a perverse spirit in the entire land. The perverse spirit is not only to the elite. So that's the title of this lesson is that what? All of you, all right? All of you Babylonians are Epstein, all right? The rulers are a representation of what the people are. So as the ruler is, so is the people, all right? Just because one commits a greater, more disgusting, foul sin doesn't mean that you're just because you a regular broke, a regular poor, average Babylonian, you commit sins similar to these, but some way, somehow you're better than them. No, all of you gonna be put to death. You're gonna be judged, and Babylon's gonna be ultimately destroyed by thermonuclear missiles, man. And shalom to y'all brothers, Shabbat shalom to the brothers. But yeah, I just want to go into some more precepts, to kind of get into that. But before, let's look at the fallout, right? Because right now, everywhere I go, is the average American is kind of shitting on the elites. And oh well, that's them guys, it's the people in power. I'm looking at them like you guys are a bunch of scumbags too. You guys are a bunch of pedophiles too. You guys are a bunch of boy lovers. You got Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan just got caught on camera doing some wild shit to a little boy, man. But you got niggas, because niggas love Jordans. You got niggas in common boards talking about, well, man, it don't really look like it look. It don't really. Oh man, I ain't really trying to get rid of my J's, man. So niggas ain't trying to, because of what? Respect the person. You see what? Because Michael Jordan he's in those ranks. He's around people. He rubs elbows with perverse and deviant people. He does deviancy behind closed doors. The Jay-Z's of the world. But sometimes now we living in a time where the Lord is letting that shit slip. So these dudes, like, they used to be really good at hiding this shit. The Lord is stopping that. Their ability to hide shit is coming out, is leaking out of them. But what is the response to the Babylonians? You wanna justify the actions. I love Jordans. I love Jordan shoes. So therefore, there's no way Jordan could be a boy lover. So all that's what I'm saying. All of you Babylonians are Epstein, man. Only the elect of the nation of Israel, could be. It has to be, could be removed and safe from this madness, bro. All right. They're trying to put a difference between. Well, I'm just an adulterer while he's a pedophile. Both of you gonna be put to death. This is a CNBC Epstein file fallout. It said a high-profile people burned by past dealings with a predator. And the dude Epstein was, like Epstein he was just being used. Now he was a foul dude, right? But he was under the orders of powerful people. All right, straight up. But my mindset, this is about the average Babylonian thinking that they better, and thinking that they're better. Having some thinking that they got some type of moral high ground because they go to church every Sunday, but they're a bunch of adulterers and pedophiles and homosexuals and all kinds of shit. They do all kinds of abominations, but because they go to church and get on their knees for Jesu Christo, Caesar Borgia, they believe that they have a moral high ground. They're better than their rulers. No, you are the representation of your rulers. We had the same problem in Israel, where the scribes and the Pharisees would do wicked things, and they would tell you, well, we did this because we fear the people, right? Saul would do some stupid shit, and he was like, well, I fear that the people would say this. That's why I didn't follow, what the Lord told me. The people would fear the scribes, and the people would do the wickedness that the scribes do, and then the scribes would fear the people, and the scribes would do the wickedness that the people want them to do. It's the same. You all in the same boat, man. and you all gonna burn together, man. It says key points. It says the recent release by the Department of Justice of millions of pages of documents related. So I can just give me a second. Okay, documents. Let me see that. Let me read this again. It says key points: the recent release by the Department of Justice, the DOJ, of millions of pages of documents related to the notorious sex predator Jeffrey Epstein has led to a wave of resignations and other uncomfortable fallout for high-profile people around the world. So, which is known, right? This is a lot of high-profile people resigning, but they're not going to jail, as you see, because they are high-profile people. They're rulers, right? And they have a whole clique, right? It says those affected include a top lawyer at the major investment bank Goldman Sachs, the CEO of Dubai's largest port, a former president of Harvard University, a former U.S. president, and an ex-secretary of state, and the chairman and leading American corporate law firm. And I just found out the CEO, chairman of Hyatt, the Hyatt Hotel, just resigned because his ass was in that shit too. There's a bunch of these dudes in it, right? But we know that. But the thing is that when I walk around, because as a man of the Lord, as a prophet, we supposed to be the watchman. Which Lord will, I'm gonna make a lesson about the importance of being watchmen in this gospel. That is our job. That is our duty, right? This is why we are here. We're supposed to be the watchmen, the witnesses, all right? We're part of this process of judgment that Babylon is going through. You must have the sin. You must have the culprit. You must have the accusers, or AKA witnesses. Then the sins have to be exposed, and then the judgment must come. So everybody has a part to play. All right, you have to play your part in accusing, right? Accusing, being a witness, and accusing the devil and the deeds of the devil. All right, and also the wickedness of our people, the nation of Israel. It says the recent release by the Department of Justice of millions of pages of email and other documents related to the notorious sex predator Jeffrey Epstein has led to a wave of resignation and other uncomfortable fallout for high-profile people around the world whose dealings with him have been exposed. Keyword exposed. We are living in a time of exposure. So when I hear things about, well, this is diversion, and you trying to be people trying to, the elites trying to sidetrack you. This ain't no sidetracking nothing. This is what the Lord said He would do to Babylon. The Lord could not, again, the Lord cannot establish, the Lord cannot allow Esau to establish this MOTB microchip and start the Third World War until certain things happen, such as the collapse of the economy. Well, what can lead to the collapse of the economy? The trust, when people realize this is part of it, when people lose trust, the leadership is vile, and people lose trust in a market that's rigged because the market is owned by the same pedophile. It's linked. The bankers, pedophilia, the market, it's all linked together. And these people at the top that the average man trusts in, once the average man loses trust in these people, they will move their money out of the market, and it affects the market. And the market therefore collapses. And then you get this new currency, which is the MOTB. So it's all linked. All right. It's all linked. It says those individuals include the top lawyers and major, what I read that already. So there's a big fallout happening right now, man. And you got a lot of people, they don't want to hear about it because it's really violent and disgusting. But I'm like, you people here in Babylon do the same shit. Well, not to that extent, just because you don't eat people, the sins are a lot more, I'm saying, crude, and a lot more, hard to digest when it comes to Epstein files. But you have a lot of people in Babylon, average people that get caught every day being in the dark web, right? When they have links to horrendous videos of children being, done some really disgusting things. I can't, for the algorithm and all that, I don't want to use certain words, but there's some really disgusting things being done amongst the elite. But the average Babylonian is doing these things as well. You know what I'm saying? And they're going off too. All right. It says the fall. The fallout. I'm just gonna read this one. It says the fallout from the Epstein files and and people mentioned in them has even imperiled the government of United Kingdom Prime Minister Keir Starmer, even though the Labour Party leader never knew the convicted sex offender. Epstein, who cultivated a relationship with many rich and powerful men and women. That's the thing you notice too, is multiple, is women involved. But as always, right? A man can eat people, it's an outrage. His name is in there. A woman can eat people, nothing happens. This broad that came out recently and made a statement that, well, if your name was not in the Epstein files, that means you were like a bit of a loser. So you know that bitch was completely okay. This whole idea that every woman is okay and is gonna fight for you. Have women like Max. What's the Maxwell? Maxwell. Well, yeah, Maxwell. His girlfriend. If I'm saying it, Mac. Was their name Max? Maxwell? Well, it was Max something. But his girlfriend, so-called girlfriend, she provided the victims, and she saw the victims get violated. Man, you had women that were in the island, and they were in the island assisting in the violation, aka Hillary Clinton was a part of this thing, bro. We know. Like it's not just the top elites, it's regular average people, upper middle class, indulging into these things, man. All the way to the poor. You have the poor in the homes. You have uncles doing this to their niece. You have aunts doing this to their nephews, man. You have women, grown women touching 3-year-old boys. Like these things are happening. There's the school system. Hey, the water brother, Ghislaine Maxwell. That's right. You look at the school system. The school system, what's the biggest things that always come out? Is male teachers dealing with super young women, or women dealing with super young students, middle class, middle school young boys, right? You have NAMBLA, right? The association of like man and boy, man and boy love. So you have boy lovers in Babylon in the U.S., right? So to sit here and look at these files and say, well, it's them, but it's like, no, it's all of you, man. It's all of you. All of you are Epstein, bro. All of you. All right. It says, in every situation, every organization, every institution in Babylon is deviant and is perverse. And these are not elite people. These are average people. So-called Negroes, Hispanics, and Native Americans, the wicked ones. Edom, Esau at the forefront in the nations, man. All of y'all are doing this, man, and it's being exposed. Why? Because the Lord is getting ready to move on this place, man. 2026, Lord willing, man, the Lord's gonna start really, after fully exposing this place, then he can get on the next move, which is to bring about the true beginning of the judgment. Let's get to precept. This is Obadiah chapter 1, verse 1. Look at the subtitle. Edom will be humble. All right. The word humble, that's where you get the word humiliation. All right. The word humiliation is linked with the word humble. So Esau is being humiliated right now, man. It says Obadiah 1:1, the vision of Obadiah, thus saith the Lord Yahawah concerning Edom. We have heard a rumor from the Lord, and an ambassador is sent amongst the heathen. Right? This is the top heathen, Edom, Esau, the so-called white man, the so-called European man. He's the ambassador. He's the top heathen. It says, arise ye and let us rise up against her in battle. All right? It says, behold, I have made thee small amongst the heathen. Thou art greatly despised. It says, the pride of thine heart has deceived thee. Thou that dwellest in the cleft of the rock, whose habitation is high, that saith in his heart, who shall bring me down to the ground? Right. When you doing some of the things that Esau does, he doesn't believe in justice. He doesn't believe because, and I was meditating, which I've always meditated about this, all of us do, right? It's just justice requires force. This is something that you could talk justice all day, which is great. Like us, we speak justice, we speak truth, right? But without power, without force, because you need to have justice, you need somebody to enforce justice. Justice needs to be enforced. Adulterers don't put themselves to death. Pedophiles don't put themselves to death. Um, idol worshippers don't hang themselves, right? These people that commit abominations, they don't do that. All right, they don't do that. So the justice needs to be enforced. It needs to be enforced, and Israel has no force to enforce justice. All right, the force, aka the power, is Yahawah by Shemel, and the power that will be sent to install justice is Yahawashi, and he's not here yet. So that tells us that we in the season now where all we have to do is be witnesses, accuse, and be part of the exposure, right? We need to be the witnesses and the accusers. All right. We need to speak justice, but we don't have the power to enforce justice. And Esau has the power. All right. But he's not a just man. He's the devil that the Bible speaks of. So he doesn't think that he could be taken down because even though he doesn't have justice, he has power. All right. And that is really the only difference. All right. Obadiah 1 and 4. Though thou exalt thyself as the ego, right, the emblem of Esau, Edom, the so-called white man, says, though thou exalt thyself as the ego, and though thou set thy nest among the stars, right, thence will I bring thee down, saith the Lord. If thieves came to thee, if robbers by night, how art thou cut off? Would they not have stolen till they had had enough? If the great gatherer came to thee, would they not leave some grapes? Meaning Esau has greed. All right. Greed is an abomination. All right. And Esau is full of greed. All right. Verse 6. How are the things of Esau searched out? How are his hidden things sought up? So how is it that we know? How is it that these things are coming out? Somebody will say, well, the elites are letting it leak out. Of course, the elites are playing a role in allowing this stuff to get leaked out. If the rawchaa didn't want these things to be leaked out, they would put a stop on it. Nobody would leak that out. They're allowing it because it's part of the process of going into the collapse of Babylon, the Babylonian system. All right. The elites want you Babylonians, right? You little Epsteins. The Rothschilds want you little Epsteins to kill each other here in the civil war and civil unrest, and the rest of y'all be carted off to concentration camps, and then whoever's left out is gonna get chipped up, get a microchip in his right hand or his forehead. But they understand that they must remove the legitimacy of the system in which you believe in. All right, you believe in this American system, this Babylonian system. Also, you Israelites, you believe in this Babylonian system, but this Babylonian system must be discredited. So how do you discredit the Babylonian system? The Rothschilds, the head of the house of Esau, Edom, understand that they must give the green light for some of their lower level devils and lower level demons to get exposed. So now the Babylonians are going to be like, the hell with this system. They're going to pick up arms, and there's going to be nothing but violence. All right. This is where we're going. We're a lot closer to all hell breaking loose than most people believe. We're a lot closer to that. I'm hearing a pulse of the people, from certain radio stations to conservative radio to fucking liberal radio. Right. I'm in there watching, listening, and the people, the Babylonians, are fed up. All right. They believe that they have a high moral high ground. I know they don't, because they are wicked, but they are getting closer and closer to really picking up arms and setting it off. All right. This is kind of where we are. But how are the things that Esau sought out? All right. It's because of the Spirit of the Lord. This is Luke 12 and 1. Subtitle: The Most High knows and cares. So the Most High knows, man, about the vile shit that's been going on behind all the children being violated, boys and girls and all this shit, the necromancy, cannibalism, all this wild shit. Most High knows and cares, man. Because I've had thoughts when I'm like, Lord, how can you continue to allow this shit to go on, bro? But the Lord, we keep, even when it was a moment when I started to really dive in into the, human trafficking and all that stuff. And I got really depressed, some of the things that I saw, some of the things that I read. I got really depressed because I was like, Lord, like, how can you allow this to happen, bro? And then, I was in a bad place. the Lord kind of like brought me to some precepts and getting understanding and all that, get my emotions out of it, and and to just deal with it, speak on it, and be patient and have long suffering, man. And that's what I needed because some of this stuff is absolutely just heart wrenching. Um, Luke 12, verse 2, it says, "For there is nothing covered thou shalt not be revealed, neither hid thou shalt not be known." All right, so therefore, whatsoever ye have spoken in darkness shall be heard in the light, and that which ye have spoken in the ear in closets shall be proclaimed upon the housetops. That right there, it happens in the nation of Israel, and it also happens amongst the heathens. Right, the Lord always does that. It's the light and the darkness. You want to speak in darkness and do wild, wicked shit, and you think it's not going to come out. The Lord eventually He's going to expose that because you being wicked. And you think you can get away with it. You know what I'm saying? The Lord had these jokers sent like barbarous things via email. Come on, man. I'm like, you could have had any other ways of communication, bro. You communicate about horrible, abominable things via email, bro. Via email? I'm like, come on, man. Like via email, talking about I can't even repeat. But man, listen, man. I've already said that. I mean, we was at camp. I told the brothers we was indoor ministry. I was like some of the things I read, I just had to like say it so that shit wouldn't stay in my spirit, man. Man, I'm free off of that. I'm good. Um, Now let's go to so like yeah. All right, let's go to Second Thessalonians chapter 2. I'm gonna start at 1. Subtitle, as you see, the man of lawlessness, man. And it's not just again, this is really not about the elite. This lesson really is about understanding that the average Babylonian, aka United States citizen, is an Epstein, bro. You may not be doing exactly what Epstein has done, but you've done some of the things. Epstein, listen, adultery don't mean shit to people like that. And you got a bunch of adulterers going on around, homosexuality, transgenderism, right? Right? Theft, all these things, man. All these things, kidnapping, right? Because you got people kidnapping people out here, man. Right? You got you niggas out here, you out here kidnapping each other, man, on drug deals and shit. Putting nigga in a fucking trunk, tying them up. That's kidnapping, man. You stealing a man. You supposed to be put to death for doing that shit, man. You going out there executing people. Jake is running around here just letting off shots with switches. This young chick in Chicago, she got lit up. Her kid kind of survived, and her boyfriend survived, but she got Swiss cheese, bro, in broad daylight. But somehow, some way, you niggas are better than Epstein. Nah, you are all Epstein, man. You wicked 2/3, you heathens, you Edomites. And I can't wait till the Lord finally bring this place to his knees, man. Second Thessalonians 2:1, it says, "Now we beseech you, brethren, by the coming of our Lord Yahawashi and Mashiach, and by our gathering together unto him." Hold on, brothers, just give me 1 second. Checking the stream, making sure. All right, we good. So like I had to check the stream, but I was just basically saying, man, you got a lot of wickedness going on, man, and you got people that believe that they have a moral high ground, which they don't. All right, they really don't. They are wicked. Second Thessalonians 2:1, it says, "Now we beseech you, brethren, by the coming of our Lord Yahawashi HaMashiach, and by our gathering together unto him, that ye be not soon shaken in mind or be troubled, neither by spirit, nor by word, nor by letter, as from us, as that the day of a Mashiach is at hand." All right? Yeah, man, because sometimes you discover some of these things and you really trouble. Verse 3, "Let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come except they come of falling away first, and that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition. So to say that the Epstein files are distraction, all this distractions, distraction from what? You can't have whatever's bigger than the Epstein files cannot go down until the Epstein files and things like such take place, man. We need to understand the process of judgment. You cannot have judgment unless you have exposure. You cannot have judgment unless you have accusers and witnesses. All right? This is the process. Now this is let's keep going. Second Thessalonians 2 and 3, it says, let me read it again. Let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come, except there come a falling away first. And that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition, all right, the son of perdition, which is Edom Esau, all right, and the acts of the devil, who opposeth and exalteth himself above all that is called God, or that is worshipped, so that he, as the Most High, sitteth in the temple of the Most High. And say he is God, sitteth in well, really he is power, sitteth in the temple of the power, showing himself that he is power. All right, so Esau is a power. Listen, he's the power right now, but you know it's temporary, right? So, but the point. Well, actually, let's jump down to 7. It says, "For the mystery." Let me jump down. Verse 7. For the mystery of iniquity doth already work. Only he who now letteth will let until he be taken out of the way. So that's where you have to have patience and long suffering. All right, those are the two things. I mean, I've always prayed, but like these days, man, for the past couple of years, I've really emphasized those two in my prayers, man, because you can know a whole lot of things, man, and you can be wise to a whole lot of things. You can understand a whole lot of things, but if you ain't got the patience and the long suffering to wait, man, it won't matter. You know, it won't matter. You know, because you gotta wait it out. You know, so you have to have the juice to wait it out. You know, if you ain't gonna wait, the scripture say he that endure to the end. If you're not enduring to the end, it doesn't matter what you know. It doesn't matter what you're wise to. It doesn't matter what you understand. At the end of the day, you just couldn't wait. So the scripture said, verse 7, for the mystery of iniquity doth already work. Only he who now letteth will let. So the Most High is letting this Edomite, this devil, do what he does. You know, all the wickedness that you see outside, the Most High is allowing it, not because the Most High loves wickedness. It's just that everything must be balanced and the process of judgment has to take place. These people we living in the end of the world. So, you know, once you understand that we living in the end of the world, the worst of the worst of the worst must be done. The worst of the worst of the worst deeds must be done, then must be revealed, and then afterward judged. You know, so that's how you're able to deal with the level of wickedness. Understand, like, it could always get worse. It's worse out there, man. It is worse. And the reason why is because it's the end of the world, right? Verse 9 it says, verse 8, and then shall that wicked be revealed, whom the Lord shall consume with the spirit of his mouth. So now the truth is consuming him, all right? And shall destroy it with the brightness of his coming. And then the Lord is going to come pick up, you know, his elect. Yahawashi is going to pick up his elect. And right behind him is going to be what? The glittering sword. Nukes are going to be hitting the whole Western Hemisphere, primarily Babylon the Great. And all you Babylonians are going to perish. All you lovers of wickedness are going to perish. You think you're better than your wicked elites? For all of you are you're just a bunch of sinners. And you Israelites, you're going to die your sins. The nations are already dead. They're already called it dead in the scriptures. They have no shot. But you Israelites are going to die your sins. You wicked 2/3. All right, let's go to the next precept. Right here. This is the book of Joel, chapter 3. Judgment against enemy nations. And this is in the NLT. All right. It says, at the time, verse 1, at the time of those events, saith the Lord, when I restore the prosperity of Judah and Jerusalem, I will gather the armies of the world into the valley of Jehoshaphat, right? Third World War. There would I judge them for harming my people, my special possession, for scattering my people amongst the nation, right? Scattering the nation of Israel, the 12 tribes, so-called Negroes, Spanish, Native Americans, amongst the nations, and for dividing up my land, and for taking over the land of Israel, the physical land of Israel, and giving it, Amalek taking over that land and calling himself a Jew, but he's nothing but an impostor, a rat. Verse 3, it says, they threw dice to decide. Now, this it goes back now to the times of slavery and an actual activity that's been done since the beginning of times. These are the things that have taken place, and it took place on the nation of Israel as well. They threw dice, meaning a gamble, right? They threw dice to decide which of my people would be their slaves. They traded boys to obtain prostitute, meaning they traded boys so that the boys can become prostitute. That's what it means. It doesn't mean that they traded boys so that they can pay for female prostitute. That's not what this means. It means they traded boys to become, right? They bought boys to become male prostitutes. And this is something that takes place. The Epstein file, is out there, and these things happen in a day-to-day life. You have that level of homosexuality that takes place in Babylon, right? You have young men that are homosexuals. It's just verse, and it says, and sold girls for enough wine to get drunk. All right, so these activities, human trafficking is something that has never gone away, bro. Human trafficking is nothing new. There's nothing new under the sun. All right, those are vile activities that have always been around. But Esau acted like he was above that. See, that's the thing about this damn devil, right? He's always been acting like he's got the moral high ground, right? He's able to bomb people. He's able to steal resources, right? In the name of Christianity, because he has the moral high ground. And God we trust. Come to find out, now the nations are being, able to see that this man ain't nothing but the devil. He worships the spiritual demon Satan in the background. And then he puts this caricature that he calls our Lord and Savior, right? Calls him Jesus Christ, which that ain't nothing but a caricature. All right? That's not our Savior. It's an idol. Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 4. Behold, his soul which is lifted up is not upright in him, but the just shall live by his faith. So the just is the Hebrew Israelite elect, 144, 1/3. We, Lord willing, we're part of the elect. Lord willing, I'm a part of the elect. We literally live by faith. We literally live by faith, because all of us do commit sins as well, but we do not commit sins that are worthy of death. That is a big difference when it comes to the hopeful elect. Is yes, we do commit sins, not because we want to, because we're slaves to the flesh. Read Romans 8. But we do not commit sins that are worthy of death. And the reason why, because the Lord prevents us from committing sins that are worthy of death, so he won't have to put us to death, because he wants to deliver his elect. So he's managing his elect through life, through this journey, where it's kind of like, it's just, it's kind of what it is. But we have faith. And we have faith in yahawashi. So thus the blood of the Lamb cleanses those sins that we do commit that are not worthy of death. All right, but all of us are worthy of death regardless, because we've accumulated so many sins. If you're being technical, we've accumulated so many sins over the years, over the reincarnations. We've done sins that are worthy of death, not only this life, past life. So, yeah, but the Lord is not dealing with us in a technicality. He's dealing with us in a spiritual manner. All right, because the spirit is what needs to be saved, not the body. The flesh is going to perish, whether you get, destroyed here by nukes, or when you get delivered in the chariots. Either way, the cleansing fire that's going to pull you up into the chariot is going to cleanse this flesh, it's going to burn this flesh, but you're not going to feel no pain. You're going to feel ecstasy, because, it's going to be the right transition. Now, let's keep going. This is on the next precept. Is Luke 8:17. It says, for nothing is secret that shall not be made manifest, neither anything hid that shall not be known and come abroad. All right. So, Esau is, he's dealing with that quote unquote karma right now, man. And yes, the Rothschilds are playing a part of it, but the Rothschilds believe that they are God. So therefore, they're trying to play the game like, oh well, they're the ones exposing the darkness into the light. So they are deluded at a high level, right? They're deluded on a high level when it comes to the Rothschilds and the 12 families, right? Um, Next precept. Let me see. Checking the stream right quick. Just bear with me. I can. All right, we still good. It's a beautiful precepts. I'm gonna read some of those precepts. I can when I'm almost at the end of the lesson. This is Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 15. It says, oh, this is in the NLT, by the way, right? It says, what sorrow awaits you? By the way, this is Habakkuk speaking against Edom Esau, right? And he's speaking as we are speaking. He's basically prophesying about what we're doing right now. Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 15, it says, what sorrow awaits you who make your neighbors drunk? Right? Meaning the sorrow that's coming for you, Edom Esau, who's making your neighbors, beginning with your twin brother Jacob, which is us. You got us drunk in your philosophy, your democracy, your lifestyle, your perversion, and then you got the whole nation drunk with this garbage. It says you forced your cup on them. You forced that shit on us. You bred us. You indoctrinated us, man, to live like clowns, man. You indoctrinated the Israelite man, so-called Negro, Hispanic, and Native American man to be a damn woman worshiper, to be a pedophile, right? To do some of the vilest activity ever, right? You indoctrinated us from when we came out of the womb. We came out of the matrix. And you indoctrinated our women into being whores and sluts and prostitutes and haters of their own men, haters of their seed, right? You indoctrinated us into believing that if we want to prosper, we need to sacrifice our children to the altar of Baal and Molech through abortions and all this other wild shit, right? That's right. That's right. Shalom. He beat it into us, man. He beat it into us, and then when it wasn't working, he indoctrinated us. But this is the thing. There's nothing really, to be honest, indoctrination can go either way. At the end of the day, man, indoctrination is not the issue. Is who's the one indoctrinating and what the doctrine is about. When the nation of Israel, when we take over, guess what we're going to do to the nations? We're going to indoctrinate the nations. Because the doctrine is a way of life. And the way of life of the Hebrew Israelites is the law, statutes, commandments. So we are going to indoctrinate the nations. We are going to beat it into them. Now, are they going to follow 100%? Absolutely not. They're not capable of. But it don't matter because we're going to be ruling the land. So we're going to be the ones to indoctrinate. Right? But this right here is talking about Esau's indoctrination on the nation of Israel. Right? That's the reason why we have to clear our mind. We have to be humble when we come into this gospel and understand we've lived a whole effing lie. When you understand your whole life you've been lied to, then you have to come up as a child and be humble and just be thankful that the Lord chose you as a grain of sand in the sea. He chose you as one of the souls to be pulled out of this matrix, out of this brainwashing. All right. So that is a blessing in itself. Habakkuk 2 and 15, it said, what sorrow awaits you who make your neighbors drunk? You force your cup on them so you can gloat over their shameful nakedness. Right? So you can gloat over our shameful nakedness. Look at our people, man. You just got to go into what world star hip hop. Every so often, I'm like, all right, let me see what the monkeys are doing. But you don't, to be honest, you don't really have to, sometimes you out and about and you can see this monkey shit. But if you really want a concentration of monkey activity, just go to World Star Hip Hop. You see the monkeys do monkey shit, right? Killing each other, fighting in the streets, disrespectful, loud, just. But in some way, somehow, like they're better than an Epstein. Not all of you are Epstein, man. You are all violent, disgusting creatures, man. Verse 16. But soon it will be your turn to be disgraced. Come, drink, and be exposed. All right. And that's exactly what's going on right now. We're in a season of exposure. So when I hear people say, well, Epstein file is a distraction, I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? This is a big move. Like, what are you talking about? You're not gonna have judgment and justice unless you have exposure. It's part of the judgment process. So as witnesses, we're supposed to witness, we're supposed to watch, and we're supposed to report, and we're supposed to accuse. All right? So judgment can come. Drink from the cup of the Lord's judgment, and all your glory will be turned to shame. All right. So all of this glory, the technology, all this shit that he saw, his weaponry, his democracy, all this shit is like, man, you talking about money, you talking about going into space, you talking about quantum technology and all this other shit. You ain't nothing but a PDF owl and a Satan worshiper. Yeah, that's what you are. You ain't nothing but that old serpent. The hell with your technology. You ain't nothing but that old serpent in the garden, man. It all comes down to you being a damn blood drinker, but you ain't supposed to do that. That's an abomination. You're a blood drinker, man eating, you know what I'm saying? Boy lover, all kinds of wild stuff, man. That's why the scripture says shameful spewing, man. In the KJV and the King James, it says shameful spewing. All right. Now let's conclude. The last book that I have is Job 20 verse 4, right? Because at the end of the day, it's got to come to an end at some point, right? Job 20 verse 4, knowest thou not this of old, since man was placed upon earth, that the triumphing of the wicked is short, and the joy of the hypocrite before a moment, right? They're all wicked and they're all hypocrites. The average Babylonian is a wicked and hypocritical person, regardless of nation, right? Because if you're an Israelite and you have the mindset, you call yourself an American citizen and you believe in the American idea, then you are a Babylonian, all right? And that means you are a wicked and hypocritical person. Job 20 verse 6, though his excellency mount up to the heavens and his head reach into the clouds, yet ye shall perish forever. It's like, yet he shall perish forever like his own dung. They which have seen him shall say, where is he? All right, so there's going to be a point in time where Esau's going to be done away with, you know what I'm saying? And that's it, Obadiah. And we can't wait for that, man. But we got to suffer through the exposure, see this devil being put out like that. It's a good thing, though, man. It's a good thing indeed, man. Devil being exposed. Let me read some of these precepts. I don't know why I struggle to do it through my laptop. I might have to do it through my phone right quick. Because brothers had some beautiful precepts. Hey, shalom to y'all brothers, man. I'm going to try to scroll up just a little bit. Because I got to close this and go and be a slave, man. Hey, shalom, GMS, DC, Tesla Dark. Hey, I'm Shakhtar, Bashmak Dash, brother. This is Amos 9, verse 9. It says, for lo, I will commend and I will sift the house of Israel among all the nations, like as corn is sifted in a sieve, yet shall not the least grain fall upon the earth. That's right, man. We need to be sifted. There needs to be a sift, man, because the majority of these Israelites, they're looking down on the Epstein file. Like, you niggas do worse. Well, I ain't gonna say worse, but you niggas do some similar shit in your communities, man. What are you talking about? You niggas, man, like I said, the women are defiled, the men are defiled. You can't get around these people, man. You can't have a conversation with a nigga. His mind is defiled. Downplays adultery. Has no beef for homosexuality. It's just like, man, get out of here. Then you deal with the Israelite woman. She's been absolutely violated. So she just thinks that she's being a man, especially the Judite woman. She thinks being a man is how she's going to protect herself. So you can't deal with her. The rest of the tribes, they completely compromised. So, it's just all of them kind of have been touched in some kind of way, been done, so yeah, man. Come on, man. This is the next precept, GMS Tesla. Revelation 11:3, it says, and I will give power to my two witnesses, and they shall prophesy 1,203 score days clothed in sackcloth. That's right. The two witnesses is talking about, really the prophets of the southern kingdom and the northern kingdom. All right, and it's us, from the 12 tribes, the two houses. All right, so we're the ones out here being witnesses and prophesying, and putting out shameful spewing. We are the witnesses and the accusers. I hey, shalom, shalom, Ashba, hey, Abshakta. John 8:44. Ye are of your father the devil, and the lust of your father you will do. He was a murderer from the beginning, and abode not in the truth, because there is no truth in him when he speaketh. Yeah, man. Because Jake like to sit around here talking about, oh man, that's white people stuff. I'm like, man, you see what Michael Jordan was doing? You go, like, that's white people stuff. I'm like, and niggas trying to find ways to. I'm like, but stop it, man. Stop it. Stop it, man. See, those niggas live a certain lifestyle. They do, like, when you do, like, imagine. Well, you can't really imagine because you would have to be one. But if a man is a boy lover and he tries to be a regular person publicly, over the years, eventually, man, that boy lover shit is going to sip out, man. He's in a good, like, example, like, let's say there's certain, like, you might have a certain uh, um, sexual habit, right? Let's say it's a little different, but it's not off sexual, it's not off sexually. It's not nothing against the scriptures or whatever. But you like to do some things, whatever you like to do. You start drinking, you do it with your woman. It's like, well, it's like, okay. Like you have the same way, whether my like feet or whatever. I don't, but I'm just using something, like publicly, you won't go around like looking at women's feet and shit. You just like, oh, are you in the room with your woman? Like now you're playing with her feet, right? You got people that do that because you drinking a little bit, you're in that good space. Well, when these dudes, when they do that foul shit behind closed doors, in moments it sips out when they're having a good time and they thinking, ooh, we having a, and then that shit sips out because this is something that you do. This is something that you do behind closed doors, man. Nobody doing that shit that don't do it. But niggas find ways to, I don't want to throw away my Jordans. So now Jordan was just wiping off ice cream. That's why his side cut off. So niggas like he's wiping off ice cream. I'm like, yo, you niggas are Epstein, man. Golly. We gotta get out of here, man. The hell with these niggas, man. Real talk. Shalom to the elder brother, Sayonara. Shalom, brother. I got a few more precepts I'm gonna read. Another one from the beautiful brother Ashba, Hebrews 12:16. Lest there be any fornicator or profane person as Esau, who for one morsel of meat sold his birthright. Yeah, profane, outside of the temple, vile and disgusting. Job 30:1. But now they that are younger than I have me in derision, whose fathers I would have disdained to have set with the dogs of my flock. Well, we know that Edomites are dog lovers. We know that. That's one of the reasons why me personally, when I try to deal with an Edomite woman, I always ask them, man, you got a dog, which 90% of them do. So once I hear I got a dog, I'm like, oh shit. I kind of try to gauge the relationship between her and her dog, man, because I've seen things where I started looking at an Edomite and the dog was looking at me funny. And I'm like, yo, what the fuck? But yeah, man. Hey, Babylon, boy, listen. This place is unbelievable. But this is Job 30:8. It says, they were children of fools, yea, children of base men. They were violent in the earth. Absolutely. Mark 3:27, no man can enter into the strong man's house and spoil his goods, except he will first bind the strong man, and then he will spoil his house. Yeah, I mean, the lack of manhood, a man is a wall to protect the family unit. So Esau removed the Israelite man from the family unit, knowing that because you always had predators, all right? You always had predatory men in every nation, not just Esau, Edom, amongst the nations, among Israel. You have some vile men that are predators. You have vile women that are predators. And a strong man, they fear that, right? That spirit of wanting to touch a little kid and violate and all that shit. They're like, oh, if I do this to this child, that demon is on their mind. They're trying to get them to do that vile shit. They know they're gonna die a horrible death, a painful, slow death. So they're like, nah, they're not gonna do that, to his kids, right? Those uncles or those deviant personalities in the community, they know who they do that shit to. There's always some single mother. Then find out, oh man, her daughter got tested, her son got tested. Always like the single mothers. But the predators, the demons, when they see, oh, they got a man in the house, like, oh, nah, he gonna tear my head off. He gonna have me hanging by my balls. And it's like, oh, they don't want to deal with that. See, Esau knows that. That's why he set up a system to allow this shit to flourish, man. All right. Hey, the elder brother Zion, Big Z, Jeremiah 5:28. They they are waxing fat. They shine. Yea, they overpass the deeds of the wicked. They judge not the cause of the fatherless. That's right. That's exactly what wicked of our people do. Yet they prosper in the right of the needy. Do they not judge? Well, shit. You talking about Michael Jordan? Michael Jordan said it a long time ago. But like, yo, because niggas wanted Jordan to get involved into politics and helping niggas fight the power. Jordan was like, bro, I ain't in that shit. You know what I'm saying? Jordan clearly said, my Jordans ain't really made for you niggas. It wasn't really made for you niggas. And every time you got your shit, your politics and all, don't involve me into that. Michael Jordan don't give a fuck. He likes to rub elbows with the big boys. You know what I'm saying? He likes to engage in weird, strange activities. So Mark 10 and 2, it says, as the judge of the people, that I was looking for that precept, brother. I could not find that precept. I was at work looking for it. I could not write it down exactly to have it pull up. So Mark 10 and 2, it says, as the judge of the people is himself, so are his officers, and what manner of man the ruler of the city is, such are all they that dwell therein. I was looking for that precept. The water brother, the water yahawashi said that precept encapsulate what this lesson is about. All of you Babylonians are Epstein. So don't look at Epstein. Look at all your institution, your school system, your mentality. Every single institution in Babylon is deviant and it's perverse and it's confusing. All right. The market, what they got to think, sex sales, right? Women empowerment by women being exposed, right? Men buying the OnlyFans. Come on, it's all over the place. Sexual deviancy is all over the place. All right. Luke 8 and 17. That's right. I brought that up. For nothing is secret that shall not be made manifest, neither anything hid that shall be known and come abroad. That's right. Last precept. Hey, Tazaponya, hey, Yapshak Dash, Dash, brother. Shalom, shalom. Proverbs 23 and 7 says, For as he thinketh in his heart, so is he. Eat and drink, saith he to thee, but his heart is not with thee. That's right. And I'll mop your eyes, brothers, just drop some precepts. I'm gonna read that and close out. Sirach 13 and 15. Every beast loveth his like, and every man loveth his neighbor. That's right, true. All flesh conservative according to kind, and a man will cleave to his like. Absolutely. Sirach 13 and 17. What fellowship has the wolf with the lamb? So the sinner with the godly. Yeah, I mean, we have no fellowship. We're not supposed to have no fellowship with the heathens in their ways, but we were indoctrinated. I mean, Esau did a magnificent job indoctrinating the nation of Israel. All of us were corrupted to a certain extent, and it's taken years, coming into this gospel, being cleansed by the word of Yahawashi Mashiach, and we still transitioning. It's not like we're a perfect product. And to be honest, we will never be a perfect product. That's why we really rely on faith. None of us can walk this earth as a hopeful elect and say, well, yeah, man, I'm fully out of the brainwashing. There's always something about you that you find out. You're like, damn, I thought this was this. But this whole time, that's another fucking lie that I was raised with. And it happens like that every day, every month, every year. So Lord willing, you were edified with this lesson. I wanted to, bring that out. The topic speaks for itself. And the scripture that encapsulates this lesson is Sirach 10 and 2. And, and with that, man, I'm going to say, Kal Halam La Yahawah, Ba Hashem, Yahushua, Ba Hashem, qadash. Giving double honors to our apostles and elders of Great Millstone, and shalom and salutation to you sincere elect across the four winds. Continue to stay strong and watchful. To some God from the DC camp. Shalom.